Taurus is the second sign of the zodiac, and behind all of its behaviors, decisions, thoughts, projects, failures is one motive. And that motive is to use the available resources to be a steward of the world, of life, to their life. They want to be sustainers in whatever they're doing. They want to be masters of their craft in chase of spiritual enlightenment. Taurus is ruled by Venus. And Venus is the sign of beauty and sensuality and comfy. It's the yum yum factor. And so Taurians will use their five senses. They'll rely on their five senses to figure out the world and what they can and can't do. There are psychological correlations between a Taurus character and a toddler, a 2-year-old. And one of the things that you notice about 2-year-olds is they call it the terrible twos. This is when everything is mine and the answer is no. But behind that is the toddler is trying to establish what belongs to them, what is their responsibility, what they can do, and what is not. And so that is reflected in Taurus's personality. Taurians are known to be control freaks, anal retentive, withholding. If they're in a new environment, they're going to create this wall that protects them from you because they're trying to collect as much information. Again, the learning thing, paying attention to everything. They're trying to collect as much information so they know what to do, and they're trying to predict what's going to happen so they can be prepared and meet you appropriately. It is ruled by Venus. So even though they're more natural in their beauty, these are not the people who are typically super glam or focused on name brands. They're focused on quality. So they will definitely pay attention to quality clothes, quality food, but they're not a name brand whore. They do care about how they are being received, and they do not like looking unpoised. And so until they feel confident, that wall is going to be there. Another thing to understand is that someone with a sun in Taurus came into this world doubting themselves. Now, they can just think that they have a harsh inner critic, but what's actually happening is that their soul is learning how to function without mom. They're stepping away from Aries, right? Aries is step 1, Taurus is step 2. They're learning how to function alone. And in order to function alone, you learn very quickly. You have to walk. You have to learn how to walk. You have to learn your environment. You have to utilize the environment. You have to take care of yourself. And so Taurus inherently recognizes all the ways in which it's unskilled. And it will be presented time and time again because they are developing, God given that you're growing and you're learning the lessons as you go. Every time you start something new, there is that initial immediate recognition of, oh, I'm here and I should be here. And Taurus learns that it is someone of value by meeting failure with a positive attitude, by trusting in its gut instincts, by following and developing its interests and skills. It wants to be someone who they can rely on. And the way that it shows up is that they are someone that you can rely on. When I think of Taurus, I think of that line, I ain't a killer, but don't push me. They don't like being rushed. They don't like being told what to do because they're trying to figure things out for themselves. And it's important that you let them move at their own pace. The only thing is that they tend to get stuck. So if you see someone ruminating over the same thing or recreating these same patterns or same relationships over and over again, it would be helpful to point it out hey, don't you think that this is kind of strange that you're having the same experience over and over again? But it is a deal breaker that if you are not patient with their process, and if you disrupt their peace too much, if you poke them too much, they're going to shut down. Another thing they don't like is if you stand in the way of them developing. If they're trying to figure something out and you're like, oh, let me help you or let me do this. No. Why would you do that? Can't you see I'm struggling here? Can't you see I'm trying to figure myself out? That's really what it is. That's why they're so frustrated. It's not so much the thing. They're frustrated that they don't have the skill to accomplish this more quickly and more efficiently. And so if you are a helper, it's going to annoy them. Do not take the work away from Taurus. They like the gratification at the end. They feel better about themselves once they figured it out. As long as the task is proportionate to what where they're at in life. You don't want to set a bar so high. Like if you're thinking about a child, you don't want to set the bar so high that they're going to fail, but let them, like a Rubik's Cube, just work it out. If they let you take the work away from them, that is such a cautionary note because they're succumbing to laziness. When Taurus is not developing itself, When there is no stimulation, when it's sleeping on its potential, it will literally sleep and lay in bed. It just wants to be cozy. And the reason why it wants to be cozy and all snuggled up is because it's feeling a little insecure. It's feeling a little unprepared. Speaking specifically to Sun and Taurus energy, this is somebody who will feel comforted by physical touch. They like cuddling, or if you're at a party, if you just like rub them on the shoulder as you walk by, they'll feel acknowledged and they'll feel supported. If you're arguing with a Taurus, it's going to feel like you're arguing at a brick wall. And if you're kind of hitting that dead end over and over again, if they will let you, just say, can we just pause? Can I just give you a hug for a second? Like we're moving too far away from peace. And they will like feeling loved. They will like feeling you. Overall, Sun in Taurus is a earthly, practical, sensual person. And what they're working towards, especially in their relationship space, but overall in life, is a sense of peace. They want to put things in place so that they can actually move at a leisurely pace. They want to build a sense of comfort for you and for themselves. Those who are born with their Sun in Cancer came into this world wanting to bring the soul into form. They may not think about it that way, but they see the oneness in everything. Literally, from the carrot, the vegetable, to a rabbit, an animal, from an animal to a human to a culture, from one culture to another culture. Everything is a life worth protecting and nourishing and loving. Cancer is represented as the mother in astrology, the womb. And what do we see when we look at a womb? We see something that is protective, something that is supportive. And so you have that quality with Cancer where they want to create a sense of security in the external world. They're represented by the crab, that tough shell that protects that tender meat inside. That's exactly what a Cancer is like. And if you've ever heard of Cancer, then you know what that shield feels like, because they will go inside of themselves. They will shut you off. You cannot penetrate that shell without truly breaking them, but it's nearly impossible. Another thing about the shell is that it's their home. They carry their home on their back, and it's hard for them to put things down. We're thinking about those little crabby hands. Whether it's things, they can't let go of things. They can't let go of old lovers. They want to collect everything because they've chosen that thing for a specific reason. And another quality to Taurus, to Cancer, is that they want to experience what love looks like long term with a partner, with a family member, with a pet. They're willing to see it through. They're emotionally equipped and programmed for the trials and tribulations that come with sticking with someone for the long haul, the long run. I mean, as we all know, our family members are sometimes the people that make us want to pull our hair out. Now, I'm not talking about toxic relationships where you should distance yourself from family. I'm just talking about the normal family trials and tribulations. My mom is irritating me. My dad is a handful. My siblings are this and that. Cancer is the person that says, you know what, but we're blood and I love you. And it's still safe, right? It's safe to love you, but we have to change things. Let's work on this. That's what Cancer is focused on. It's also ruled by the moon. And just like in real life, the moon affects the ocean directly. And so Cancerians have that quality to when they're feeling a specific way, they are not trying to emotionally manipulate you, though they're not above that, but they're not trying to make you feel a certain way. It's just when they are glowing like that, they are going to pull you into their emotions because that is the exchange of energy that you guys are partaking in. Pure, undisturbed Cancer energy is sensitive and introverted. And how this manifests is if you're at a party or if you're at their house, probably. If you're at their house and they're hosting, they, without you knowing, are taking intel on everything about you. Your vibe, your tone, your posture, what you're wearing. They want to know where you are emotionally, and they won't say anything to you. They're just like, okay, noted. Oh, I noticed that. Oh, that's interesting. And they'll let you repeat the pattern. And after it happens a couple of times, they might come over and give you a hug, but they're not going to confront you. They're not confrontational. They would much rather things come out in a soft way, naturally, when you're ready. If they're concerned about you, then they will, make you dinner, or they'll take you out somewhere, and then they'll talk about it. But it won't be like, whoa, they're not all up in your face like that. They want you to feel completely yourself. And something I've noticed about Sun in Cancer is that they have strong career aspirations. They perform well at work. And it's not because they love their job, though oftentimes they do. It's because what their job does for their family or their sense of security or their quality of life. They want to be providers. They want to be the person that anyone in their family or their life can go to when they need any type of support, emotional, financial. They are the mother. Now let's talk about some deal breakers. Cancer will not like if you disapprove of or discourage them spending time with their family or chosen few. They like making their rounds. They like spending time with their friends. They like spending time with their family. They will make a point to spend time with their family, their kids, their parents. It's important to them and their sense of self. Their sanity hinges on their ability to stay connected to their community emotionally. The second thing that they dislike is black and white thinking to the point where you prize separation, because you have to think about it, right? They see the oneness in everything. They see the connectedness in everything. They see love everywhere they look. And so if you're someone who swears on this being that way and this being that way, Cancer is going to feel turned off. Come on, be better. Speaking solely to the sun sign, Cancer's love language is probably quality time, acts of service. They like when they're with you for you to be present with them. You're not on your phone, you're not distracted with something else. They like the exchange of bonding and sharing an experience together. And the way that they love you is they do things for you. They do your laundry, they make you food, they pack your lunch, they clean the house, they tidy things up. That's their way of saying, like, I'm paying attention to what you need, and because all these things are handled, life is easier for us all. You know you're in hot water and deep water with Cancer when they shut off, when all you see is the shell. They don't give two fucks how you're doing, how you're holding yourself, what you're saying, what you're doing, if you're comfortable, if you're fed. Suddenly you've just fallen off their radar and they're moody towards you. In fact, when they do speak towards you, the emotional intelligence comes out and they know how to arouse a specific reaction. They are calculating in the way that they're talking to you. Everything becomes like just duty. The opposite sign is what comes out, Capricorn. So the Capricorn expression is there really is little heart, and it's all about, well, we have to talk because we're business partners, or we have to talk because I am in some way, shape, and form related to you, but they're cold, they're distant and detached. So in whole, a sun in Cancer is emotionally intelligent, emotionally aware, sensitive, receptive, nurturing, protective, and they're focused on sustaining something for its entire life. Whether it's a plant, a vegetable, a relationship, they're the best lovers. Sun in Cancer, Sun in Taurus, so sweet. This can even be a competition of like who does more for the other person. Astrologically speaking, there is total natural elemental compatibility. We have an earth sign and a water sign, both introverted, which means that you guys are on the same clock rhythmically. You wake up in the morning ready to go, and by the end of the day, you're ready to come home to recharge yet again. And so Self-Care Sunday will look like, how do we take care of the body? Like, let's eat some yummy food, or maybe even some comfort food. Let's go on a walk. Let's Netflix and chill, if you smoke, I can see you guys like smoking and hanging out. This is a very loving relationship. Even though Taurus isn't particularly emotional, Taurus cares about, do you feel safe? Do you feel secure? And are you joking? Like Cancer, that's what it wants more than anything, is to feel safe. And so these are two people who want their relationship to be a way that they restore their peace, their vitality, and the relationship is truly founded on love and unity and wanting to support the other person. Taurus is ruled by Venus. Cancer is ruled by the moon. These are nurturing feminine energies. Not to say that you guys are both feminine, but to say that there is a quality to this relationship that wants to nurture, that wants to connect, and that wants to experience pleasure for the long haul. Okay. Taurus is an earth sign, which means that it is grounded, practical, sensible, reliable. It's paying attention to things that it can experience with its 5 senses. Cancer's 6 senses. But Taurus is going to immediately download, when it's presented with an opportunity, it's going to assess the risk, pros and cons. And after it is presented with an idea, it's going to download all the things that could go wrong. and then try and find solutions to each one of those things. And that's how it offers you stability. If you don't know that that's why it does that, to create security, to come up with plan B and C, because no one else is going to do it, then you could find them to be like a negative Nancy, or someone who looks as like the glass half empty. And that's not at all what Taurus is just trying to do. Taurus is trying to be prepared, because more than anything, it wants to come off as poised, calm, and collected. If you see a Taurus that's frustrated, it's because it has been pushed. But even in those situations where it is explosive, I don't see it explosive as like Aries is like, ah! Taurus is more like raw, like a roar, like a deep, it just feels, what's the word that I'm thinking of? Like sturdy. It's a sturdy anger. Even in that case, they are quick to restore peace, because they don't want to be in a state of chaos. You know, Venus is all about connectedness. And when you are angry with somebody, you're in a place of being disconnected. And so Taurus will likely, come back. Cancer is a water sign, and it is all about emotions and love and unity and spirituality, and more than anything, it wants family. And so both of these people's energies are in one way focused on creating a safe home and a safe family, not only for the family that they are creating, but for the family that they come from. Taurus is trying to prove itself to itself. And so there will be more of this focus on am I competent? Am I a master of my craft? Am I developing? Am I growing? Because Taurus on a soul level is learning how to separate from mom, not the family, just mom. Cancer is learning, like, how do I mother myself? How do I stand as someone that this family respects? Do I reflect our morals and values? Kind of like that. And so this is a very cozy relationship. This is a couple who, when you see them together, it just makes so much sense. They're often offering you or appetizers or hors d'oeuvres, or you want a glass of wine, or we're having wine night at the house, or, they want to invite people over who they consider family. This isn't two people who are just throwing a huge party and literally anybody can come. This is no, this is an exclusive event, invites only. Some challenge areas might be that, Cancer is very emotional. It's ruled by the moon. And so you can predictably rely on the fact that once a month they're going to have a breakdown or a meltdown, regardless of gender or sex, because they are being pulled by the energy of the moon. Sounds crazy, right? We're almost completely made of water, and the ocean is water and it's pulled by the moon. I don't understand why there's confusion there, but anyways, Cancer goes cuckoo once a month. I say that lovingly. And they want someone to meet their emotional needs in that time. They want someone to, take their emotion and then feed it back to them, so they feel seen and appreciated and coddled. Taurus is not going to coddle. Taurus will be with the broom from a distance, it's okay, they're there. And so Cancer may feel like there's no depth to you. However, Taurus is surprisingly soulful. And so even though it doesn't offer necessarily the emotional validation, it kind of has an all access pass through the back door, where it can show up for Cancer in ways that feel incredibly nourishing to the soul. They can feel grounding to Cancer. Cancer can be, this ocean that would just go everywhere if it weren't for the expansive land of Taurus that kind of keeps it contained. And so maybe the way this will show up is Cancer feels comfortable throwing a tantrum in front of Taurus, because Taurus is unmoved. Taurus looks at them and will just say, I see you, everything will be okay. And then we'll probably throw some kind of spiritual or soulful wisdom, in at the end. They're really good at creating a story from chaos. And another thing that I'll bring up is we have Cancer as a cardinal sign and Taurus is a fixed sign. So the relationship starts with ease. I would imagine it to be moving quite smoothly. But when it comes to ending the relationship, there's kind of challenge or friction there. So I see you guys lasting the test of time. There's enough in common for you guys to stay together, and the challenges and the differences that manifest in your relationship are things that actually make you guys more balanced human beings and whole. But if you're in business together, or I would be curious, is if in your day-to-day life, you guys have a hard time bringing things to completion. Cancer will start things, Taurus will kind of maintain it and see it through, but who is finishing things? There seems to be a gap of we're juggling so many different things, we're so busy, and how do we, I mean, of course, things are prioritized, right? Because Cancer is all about prioritizing, but there is just this energy of not knowing what to say no to potentially, or just being overwhelmed by these outstanding tasks that never are finished and met. So this is immediately what comes to my mind. If you want to learn more either about your birth chart or your partners, you can find me at wellandrising.com/services.